Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, I want to continue the coverage of the Idaho 4. Bryan Kohberger has been arrested as the suspect in this heinous crime. What next when it comes to Bryan? Because truth is, the parents, the family, they can try to do everything they can to be relieved. Nothing will ever bring the kids back. That's what makes this so heartbreaking, right? And truth is, we don't really know. But you gotta ask yourself, how did the suspect get into the house and do what he did to them? Daily Mail had shared this image, and I thought I would break it down as well and kind of go through it, as well as the route that they may have gone through, that the suspect may have followed to go back home after doing this. So you can see, number one, the suspect, the person that did this, quietly breaks into the house just after 4 a.m. through a sliding door. Okay, then number two, he fatally stabs Xana Kanoodle and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin. I originally thought maybe going into the third floor first. So if you look at the layout, you got to ask yourself as well about the surviving roommates, which is number 4. So you look at number 2, breaks into the home around 4 a.m., does what he does to Xana and Ethan, and then goes upstairs and he does what he does to Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan, doing what he did in Mogan's bed. And you can see the layout at the same time. And then at number 4, like he's going back downstairs, surviving housemate Mortensen sees the masked man in the corridor between the floors who walks past her. So if she's here, so he comes downstairs from the 3rd floor. That's where Dylan sees him coming towards her. So you can see the stairs going there, right there. Like maybe the door was open and she just froze and he doesn't even hear her there. And then exits out through there. Mortensen tells police that the man slipped out the back sliding glass door and fled around 4:25 a.m. So he's in the home roughly 25 minutes. I would say that he thought he ran out of time and he was hurrying to get out of there because every minute counts. He would have to know there are 2 other roommates. If he had been stalking this place out for 12 minutes, it's probably a safe bet that he truly believed he was running out of time and he knew that there was roommates there. I would have to think that would have to be part of the plan. And so you can see where maybe she's off to the side. Maybe she sees him and she's off to the side with the door open a little bit because she says she opened the door and he's coming towards her. But which way? That doesn't have much room from the staircase, if I'm seeing the staircase correctly, right? What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. But you can see where the way, you get into number 1, killer quietly breaks into the house just after 4 a.m. Goes into Xana Kanoodle, goes up the stairs, so they came in on the 2nd floor? Not a very clear. Yeah, so the 2nd floor comes in. I'd see, how were they down in the 1st floor? Dylan must have been in her room on the 2nd floor because she did live upstairs on the 2nd floor. So she sees him, but then she goes down to the 1st floor because this has always been described as on the 1st floor, the 2 surviving roommates. We find out that Dylan's bed is upstairs. So she must go downstairs, talks to him, talks to Bethany. Bethany isn't nowhere on this thing. So that's hard to understanding on its own, right? And so let's look at the route they might have taken. This is from Fox News. 1 second here. This is from Fox News that they created this walkthrough and everything. So we're going to walk through, or the drive through back to their place, or back to his own place. And so I want to share that with you so we talked about him coming in, doing what he's doing. Now his route back home. That's what they're sharing, that he followed. This would be the route. You can see that leaving there, going through that scene. And so this is kind of a ride along of the route that he most likely took. Again, he lived just over 10 miles from the home. And so this is the suspect's escape route, adding a few extra turns to what his normal route would have been. See, after he's being held on bail, all of this stuff is coming out. He is charged with 4 counts and a felony burglary. And they allege that he ambushed the 4 sleeping University of Idaho students, and then this is his route afterwards. And so Corporal Brett Payne, who is the lead investigator, I said that, Dylan overheard part of the crime and then went into a frozen shock as she witnessed the masked man go right by her, because the stairs looked to be right next to her, and then leave through the rear sliding door on the 2nd floor. And now we see that his alleged escape route, which detoured to the south, tacked on more than 4 extra miles between Moscow, Idaho and Pullman, Washington. Roughly an hour after the incident, according to Brett Payne, his white Hyundai Elantra began appearing on surveillance cameras around the area. The first was at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman, which is connected to Moscow by the rural West Palooza River Drive. And so it said in the affidavit, the white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on South Route 270. That's what Payne wrote in the affidavit. And he says at approximately 5:27 a.m., the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and then Stadium Way at Cougar Way. And Shannon Glinksey, who co-owns the business of the Johnson Road address, said she was thrilled that the 7 security cameras on her building helped police catch a suspected killer. She said she asked for her video and she turned it over. She said police asked for her video and she turned it over without even knowing if it showed anything important. She said, this is the first time we've heard of any of this. That's what she told Fox News Digital. We had no idea. And so that was in the affidavit. Klinsky said that the slayings hit her close to home. She graduated from the University of Idaho herself. Her children grew up in Moscow. Her property management company oversees multiple residents on the same block as the crime scene. She said, we've all been shocked and surprised, but absolutely relieved that this person's been caught. Police eventually put out a call for help tracking down, and that's when 2 Washington State University police officers, Daniel Tiengo and Curtis Whitman, and you can see him arriving to his home. This is where he lived at 201. Big 201 right there. So they would eventually catch up to him December 30th, but you can see there, that's where it gets hard on this. And so police officers Daniel Tiengo and Curtis Whitman, they were the first to find it linked to an address 3/4 of a mile away from the last camera sighting. And so they dig up information, and it revealed that Kohlberger was the person that had this car registered to them, and that he changed his registration 5 days after the murders. But truth is, he had to change it as well from moving from Pennsylvania to Washington, but I don't know if being a student, if he had to. And so in mid-December, a license plate reader in Colorado picked up the vehicle heading east. And that was according to the affidavit. 2 days later, ISP stopped Kohlberger and his dad in the car 2 times 9 minutes apart. In Pennsylvania, and the FBI found it at his parents' house. That's how they're able to link this white car to them, which is crazy in and of itself. And so the FBI is, as part of their surveillance, they watched him take out the trash from his parents' home and put it in their neighbor's garbage can while he was even wearing surgical gloves at 4 a.m. Agents used items from that to link his DNA to the crime scene. And so they had an FBI surveillance team watch him take out the trash. I find that extremely, extremely interesting. That's why I love to follow how they find the bad guy. And so he was also seen cleaning the inside and outside of his car, with the source adding that he didn't miss an inch. He combed that thing upside down, left and right. And so law enforcement, they saw him outside his parents' home multiple times, even wearing surgical gloves. And so a source told CNN that he wore surgical gloves while taking out the bags and was even seen putting trash into the neighbor's trash cans at around 4 a.m. And so agents, they recovered items from both his family home and the neighbors. So he was putting something away, huh? And so, of course, when they pull all that stuff, they send it back to the Idaho State Lab. Then they are able to manage to confirm that DNA was found on that USMC sheath button, which officers discovered next to the bodies of Kaylee and Maddie. And so they were able to say, yep, this is his DNA. And so that's how we're able to put a lot of this together and what led to him. My friends, at the end of the day, this is not about me. This is about being a voice for the victims, because they can't be there, have a voice for themselves anymore. And this is one of the best ways to keep their story alive and in front of everyone, because their story should be told, because they were taken from this world way too soon by someone who was selfishly thinking about themselves. We don't even know why. We do not even have a motive as to why this guy would do such a thing. My friends, if this is the kind of content you like to follow, hit that subscribe button, hit that like if you got some value out of this. Today's episode, we're covering those questions we still have around the Idaho case. 4 students brutally taken away from this world way too soon. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez. This has been another episode of Deep True Crime. Until next time, my friends, peace. Have a great one.